Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are loaded up onto Summoner's Rift, or at least trying to load up. Bit of connection issues with a couple of the players, but we are back for game number 1 of the Black Monster Cup, Group D. This is, of course, the fall season for North America, and we have Denial eSports taking on Zenith eSports as soon as everybody gets into game, of course.
Yeah, I don't think Anda loaded on the loading screen, so I think we're just waiting for him to get a quick client restart before we jump into this one.
Sometimes ISPs happen. I think they could be classified as natural disasters at this point.
Yeah, that's it's, over the past week or so, I've been getting quite a bit of lag.
I've been getting a lot of horror stories about Comcast. Ugh.
Yeah, I have Time Warner Cable, which got bought out by Comcast recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's slightly better until then I remembered that happened.
Slightly better. I've never had any problems.
I cannot wait for Google Fiber, personally.
Yeah, good luck.
I welcome the monopoly.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, hopefully that ends up becoming the case eventually. But as Anda tries to sort out the internet issues, we'll take a look at the starting lineup, of course. So with this top lane, we talked a little bit about Anda being able to counteract some of Acadian's zone. And where do you think that starts coming into play? Because it's going to be a few levels that he's going to have a rough time if they do go for the 1v1.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough for him. The one I talked about how I really like the Jarvan pick. I like the Jarvan pick in sort of the essence of his ability to impact team fights at almost any stage of the game. But his laning isn't the greatest, especially against ranged laners like Lulu. So he's going to get harassed and probably until he gets a gank. I'm going to have to say, I mean, he can all in with E-Cube combo. But the thing is with Jarvan in lane, once he uses the EQ combo in, he's not getting out. And Lulu's a champion that can really punish and engage that isn't going to work out. So he's going to have some trouble, definitely. And he's going to probably have to have some help or he's going to fall behind in CS. But they picked the Jarvan to like I said, have an impact on those team fights. Look for those teleports, late game team fights. He's still going to be able to keep up and farm, but I'm sure he's going to fall behind.
Yep, now as a little bit of early game poke goes down, players take their places. No line of scrimmage entirely. It was starting to be formed up by Denial, but ends up just kind of scattering about. Now there's a 4-man bush camping going on from Zenith's side, bringing in Acadian as well. So they're going to try as best they can to protect this blue buff, and the game should get off to a very normal start. However, oh boy, they're going for the invade here. This is a bit early, and they find their way in without any resistance, but spotted out immediately. Should get a couple of deep wards down, and that's going to prompt the switch up. On the top side, you see Anda and friends moving over to the red.
Both of these teams have really potent level 1 team fights. Alistair is really good level 1. Brahm's good level 1. Anivia's good level 1. Vayne has the potential to be good level 1. That could have been a really big clash if they had decided to fight that.
It still could. This is looking to be a collision course right now. Anda being spotted out and pinged by the side of Zenith, and the rest of the team getting themselves up to bush camping area. However, they don't have Nubby Pooh Bear. This is very dangerous right now for Denial if they do end up going in for that. They see this coming. Evaniscus and Anda going to try and back away. Winter's Bite going to land on Anda. Cat God is there with the exploding Spiderling, but they have to scatter. See if they can get out of here without taking too much extra damage as the red buff and blue buff respectively come on up. Game gets off to a normal start. Could have been a very close call.
Yeah, it's pretty well executed by Zenith there. They didn't get a catch, but that's going to set Cat God behind quite a bit. And it's also going to force him to start blue, which means he's going to be on the bottom side of the map, which means, as we talked about earlier, well, I guess he most likely would have been on the bottom side of the map anyway for his gank path, but that's going to give Anda an even tougher time because he's not going to have the help from Cat God that he would have had if Cat God had been able to go from enemy red to allied blue. So I like that play by Zenith. They're setting themselves up for success here. Not too much gain, but with their early game plan, I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah, I think they shouldn't have too much trouble. It's just Anda is going to be the one who needs a little bit of help early on. Nubby Pooh Bear actually going to get poked out by the Ice Ball, but he returns a lot of damage, charming up Anivia in the mid. We mentioned this was going to be likely the featured matchup because Anivia is definitely hit or miss in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
However, Anda is doing a pretty good job at trying to zone out Acadian, even has time to spam a little bit. They both hit level 2 about the same time. Everything should be fairly normal. I don't expect really, really early aggressive plays beyond the zoning. Evaniscus getting a nice headbutt there.
Yeah, Anda actually backed early to pick up extra mana potion and extra health potion in lane, and then use his teleport to get back.
Acadian's actually getting poked out pretty hard.
Yeah, I like that setup by Onda to really go sort of aggressive in the lane to sort of set the tone with the extra sustain from the potions. It's going to put Acadian onto his back foot, which sort of gives him the edge. And now Acadian's run out of mana, and it's ticking pretty good here. So that was a really smart lane plan by Onda to really keep himself in this early game.
Yeah, and he's able to really apply that pressure. The Doran's Blade helping him sustain up a little bit through the laning phase, but he's taking a little bit too many help pick shots right there. Glitter Lance also landing on him. Again, no serious aggression, a lot of love taps, really. The bottom lane is actually the least aggressive of them all. Of course, this is how Stixie and Evaniscus should like it anyways, considering the massive power spike that Vayne will get towards the later stages of it.
Yeah, this bot lane, I'm not sure if we're going to see much action, because both two short-range AD carries with two super tanky supports. It's going to be really hard for them to find good engagements on each other without gank help. So,
well, Jessica Jung's up on farm, but that's kind of to be expected when you're a Corki.
Yeah, well, and he's got the wave pushing in his favor. So really, it's I'd say it's still about even at this point. Both of these supports they have a lot of CC, and a lot of people will try to play them as being really strong early laners. But both of these guys, even despite their CC and their ability to initiate fights, are more brought for the CC that they bring in the late game as opposed to the CC that they bring in the laning phase. So
almost definitely.
Yeah.
Braum has a horrendous level 2 through 5. It's just really rough until you get the Glacial Fissure, but that can be an instant team fight turnaround. And to be honest, they have a lot of slow and stun CC on the side of Zenith, so that will be very, very dangerous. Stixie now going a little aggressive, but Hakuo gets the stand behind me off. Nice headbutt pulverize. Well, just a pulverize, and there was a headbutt. So Jessica Jung and Hakuo taking more of the poke than Stixie. However, they might answer onto the cow now. A couple of Winter's bites. Well, a couple of procs of those blows at least. And that means everything's going to reset once again. Really no significant lead being given to either team because they're playing so incredibly conservative. The exception being Onda up in the top with his poke.
Yeah, there's just not much kill pressure in that bottom lane whatsoever. But I mean, pretty slow game so far for everybody. It's even across the board. Easy's got a little bit of a CS lead.
Well, he didn't seem to be paying much attention to that one as he hits 5 instantly. Flag and drags in. Ooh, nice dodge out. Meanwhile, Kaka gonna find Mimo, so a jungle duel's happening, but here comes Easy. Cax is in a little bit of trouble right now. Burns his flash to escape from that one. Still being chased down by the bug. It looks like one more hit would do it. Here comes Jessica Jung, but that was a perfectly timed repel to save the life of Cat God. Again, no first blood, so narrow escapes.
Acadian actually forced to blow his flash as well up in the top lane, so 2 flashes down on the side of Zenith, and Cat God, the only one forced to blow his flash on the side of Denial.
They committed so heavily to that too.
They really did. It's tough to commit to an Elise when she's in her own jungle, because you don't want to commit too far, because it allows the bot lane to collapse on you, put you out of position, and then if she has any jungle camps up, she has almost a second flash with the ability to escape with repel. So it's really tough to commit all into that sort of thing, but I guess it pushes him out of the jungle for a while. Whoa!
Oh, Nubby takes a lot of damage and can't return anything onto Easy. That was a rough miss of this charm, and yeah, Nubby Pooh Bear couldn't answer anything back. A lot of vision on the side of Zenith. They really are making sure that the area around the mid lane is completely visible to everything, and it almost seems like it's not necessary because Cax hasn't really made an effort to put any pressure on that lane.
This is pretty much Anivia's strength right here, is being able to bully in lane. Like I said before, she's not a big roamer. Her team fights, she's pretty susceptible just because of how slow she is and how much of an escape she lacks. She's really cooldown reliant, so if she uses her wall, she uses her stun, it's really easy to get onto her in team fights and to shut her down. The egg is sort of an annoyance, especially in the later stages of the game when you're looking to catch someone out really quickly and burst them down, because she can come back into team fight with full health if you just use your cooldowns to get her egg, but she can be really susceptible to being shut down in the later stages of the game. So I'd imagine for her, for Easy to have an easier time in lane and be able to...
Is that intentional?
No. Yes, it definitely was.
That's okay.
But
name puns happen sometimes.
But as the team fights come up and as we get to the later stage of the game, I hope that Nubby Pooper can find some openings to be able to catch her out. Yes, 12 CS is a pretty big deal, I'd say.
The double Doran's force really hurt, to be honest, more than it looks like, just because it sets Ari so far back on finishing the DFG, and the fact that, yeah, down 20 CS, really not helpful. They're relying on Onda putting the pressure up top now to keep Acadian back, and this isn't too bad, so they're really only objectively losing in one lane. If Cat God makes a little bit more effort to move there once he finishes up his jungle item, it should result in quite a lot of carnage once this mid game starts settling in. But right now, both teams continuing to play very conservatively unless they think they have the go for the kill.
You have to be careful when ganking Anivia, though, especially in the like 5 level or level. As soon as she hits level 6, basically, until you start to scale a little better, especially as a jungler like Elise, who, I mean, first item usually is Spectral Wraith now, so she's super squishy, and a lot of Elises don't run flat MR anymore. I mean, some do, but a lot of Elises will opt to run like cooldown reduction in the glyph slot. So you're really squishy, and Anivia, out of any mid lane champion, is one of those mid lane champions who can turn a gank into a double kill, into a 2v1 double kill. So
when did the full AP Elise started coming into vogue? I remember Nintendude playing that, I think a couple of months ago. That's the first time I remember seeing it.
Well, when Elise first came out, she was normally built pretty heavily AP in the top lane, and then when people transitioned her into a jungler, just by habit, they built her full AP, and then tank stats came around, and then they changed Ancient Golem. So
yeah.
When they changed Ancient Golem is when people started to realize, well, we don't want to build full tank, and people started to realize that Spectral Wraith is probably the better choice for at least in the early game. And then if you're going to build Spectral Wraith, AP is a likely choice to go along with sort of that theme. Maybe not full AP, but sometimes they'll get like a Haunted Geyser, maybe even a Void Step in the late game because she scales so
hello,
low.
Nubby. He wants to start the fight. Actually finds Easy a little out of position, but he burns a lot of summoners for that one. And the wall doesn't come in exactly where he needs it to be. They get the egg, but they don't have the dive potential just yet. So they will be happy to pop that one. I think it's not a terrible choice, full AP Elise. It's just you have to put a lot of pressure early on, and we just haven't seen that out of Cax just yet.
Yeah. But really, there hasn't been too many opportunities to gank. Like I said,
true.
Anivia, not the easiest to gank early on.
And it's hard to gank a Corki, too, especially when Brahm's a laning partner.
Yeah.
Acadian has been pushed in the entire game.
Exactly, yeah.
You're right. There really isn't much for Cax to do.
And if you look at his CS, he picked up a couple in the mid lane. He's picked up a little bit across the map, but he's 15 ahead of Mimo at this point. They're the same level.
Go. Oh, there's an Anivia. Yeah, the same can be said of Mimo. That's true. There hasn't been as many opportunities. The closest they've gotten was catching Cax out in the river. Oh, Onda, he's going to find Acadian here, and, well, he's got himself a wild growth should he need it, but he'll be able to get back to tower range again. Mimo trying to make something happen. Cax around the side as well, so 2v2 starts up in the middle. Everyone backs away, and Anivia does not have the egg just yet.
The egg or the flash.
Yeah. Oh, Acadian. Every time he goes out to farm, Onda pokes him away. And talk about massive CS leads. We thought that Jarvan was going to be bullied out, but the exact opposite happened.
Yeah, he sort of threw a wrench in the plan there because he backed right away and had enough gold for a mana pot and an extra health potion and went aggressive as soon as he got to the lane, which a lot of Jarvans don't have the luxury of being able to do that because they have no way of regenerating their mana. It's one of the biggest sort of fallbacks of using Jarvan in the top lane is that like 3 combos and you're out of mana. And he is going for that Ravenous Hydra build that I talked about, and the burst, your EQ combo burst, is pretty insane when you build that item. So I'm really looking forward to see what he's going to be able to do. And you can even go Ravenous Hydra into full tank, and you're still going to pump out more damage than a lot of tanks in that similar position would do. So I like that build.
No surprises with the build choice, considering how aggressive he has been early on. Evaniscus blocking out every shot he can for Stixie, who hasn't had a whole lot of pressure on him this game either. So Jessica Jung and Hakuo have a ticking time bomb over their heads. The team fights may decide the thing, but Stixie ever gets a 1v1, especially the later this game goes, it's going to start turning heavily in his favor. Looking to finish up display the Rune King soon.
The most boring bot lane in existence right now. 0 kill pressure from both these guys. These supports are the tankiest supports in the game right now. Alistar and
They're
Braum.
actually not doing a whole lot to open those holes. They're playing very scared just because of the damage output from the respective AD carries.
And because of the amount of peel that each support has as well. So it's
Everyone's
just
afraid to commit.
Yeah, really, it's just there's no point for them to do it right now without jungler help, and the junglers don't want anything to do with that either. So
what is the longest first blood on record? Because I'm sure 14 minutes is definitely getting close to that.
in the Black Monster Cup, I can remember in Group B we had one that was like at 20
That
minutes.
might change in just a second because Anda, he's going forward, teleporting in. They find Easy and Focus. There's the headbutt pulverized first blood. Comes in at 14 minutes, going over to Cax. And then he goes in with the Cataclysm, zoning out everyone. Acadian slow, flashing forward. Cat God with a double kill. They're chasing down even further Anda. Nubby Pooh Bear still alive. They come up with 2 for nothing. Should be able to get themselves a dragon as well. Big plays coming out of Denial Esports.
And that's the susceptibility of Anivia in team fights, especially in the mid game with no flash and no egg. Really, they just sort of bopped her around a little bit in the fight and then ended up killing her before she could really do anything. She's good in lane, she's a bully in lane, but if you have mobility in team fights, it just completely shuts her down if she's out of position, has no summer, and has no egg. So, I mean, that was a great job by Nubby Pooper in the mid lane earlier on to pop that flash and egg. That sort of set them up for success because Anivia could have made that fight a lot more difficult had she survived for another, maybe even just 5 to 6 seconds because of her ability to sort of have that area zone effect that you talked about a little bit earlier. But great job by Denial early on, and that's sort of the push that they need. They're going to try to ride this momentum. And I talked about how the mid-game spike for Zenith was really good. Well, that's not going to be a good start for them to come into the next dragon fight because they're going to be behind.
Oh yeah, that instantly starts tipping the scales a little bit. May not look incredibly huge, but it is the first lead of the game. And Denial Esports just showing a superior focus, all set up really by Evaniscus, that man in the bot lane. He really did a fantastic job to focus out Anivia first, and his team responded. They're just going to fight over wards now.
God.
Hello.
How long, if Braum and Alistar just had a 1v1 duel where neither of them could stop or escape until one died, it would go on for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, we would be there for longer than it took the teams to get the first blood.
Yeah, I think Alistar would win because of sustain, but I have no idea.
I don't know, man. Braum's got a mustache. In
That's
my experience, guys with mustaches can last a while.
I don't know, does Alistar have a mustache? No.
No, he's just got a big ring in his heart. Oh boy, he finds himself Jessica Jung, and that's Stixie going for the final hour, getting himself a kill. Onda, meanwhile, 1v2ing in the top and still manages to take out Acadian before falling to Mimo. And Hakuo going down in the bot lane as well, a double kill for Stixie. And this does not bode well for Zenith. They can't even pull off the 2v1 without casualties. Onda is actually coming up really huge.
Yeah, and that's sort of that build that I talked about. And he actually goes for the Brutalizer second too before he finishes the Ravenous Hydra. There's a big sort of gap between Tiamat and finishing Ravenous Hydra. So getting that cooldown reduction on that armor pen is actually really good because you use the Q and then you have the Brutalizer. You're piercing through so much of the enemy's armor. And so you see how much just raw damage output he had on Acadian to be able to turn that gank into a 1-for-1 trade. It was pretty intense.
And the bot lane ended huge. It's actually going to be even more in just a minute. Whoa! Flashing away. Jessica Jung, though, going down. And Evan Stevens, Evaniscus picking up that kill credit. They should be able to follow up a double kill, actually, for the cow. Should have given it over to 6, you'd think. But, you know, he's got enough. He's got 2-0 on his plate already. Nice gank by Cat God.
Yeah, this is starting to become a nightmare for Zenith Esports here. It looked like they had a decent start. It looked like they had a great plan going into sort of mid-game team fights because of the quirky, but with that one dragon fight, they're capitalizing on all the summoners being down across the map here. And Trinity Force, the Trinity Force power spike for Corky is so easy. Could be in trouble.
Easy! Oh, he might go. Oh, he's going to go down here. One more flash forward. Oh, he gets the egg. That'll be Pooh Bear. That was a little bit too far forward with the flash, and Mimo mops it up.
Yeah.
However, that still isn't the worst thing in the world because, yeah, they have really turned on the pressure since that dragon fight, and now they have themselves out about 4,000. 4,200 in the lead, gold-wise. And they're doing it with inferior vision, too. That's what's so crazy about this. There's a literal forest of wards in the jungle for Zenith Esports, and there's like 2 or 3 for Denial, and they're really making it work for them.
Yeah, Zenith is doing a great job of actually responding to this pressure. You can see that they have pink wards along the... Pretty much every entrance to their jungle has a pink ward, and they've been doing a pretty good job at defending those pink wards and clearing out the pink wards of Denial. But Denial has just sort of been brute forcing fights. They haven't really been trying to go for map control or like jungle invades.
Cadian, I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this one.
He's out of mana.
Yeah, and he used his wild growth. Onda just bush baited that perfectly, and that is the power of a Bruiser Jarvan.
Yep. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this pick is gonna pick up some traction.
I think so
in
too.
A couple weeks. It's always been a strong pick, but it's always been sort of that pick that was really risky because of the nature of top lane and how easily champions can get shut down. Jarvan is a champion that can get shut down pretty easily, and champions that we've seen in the top lane can really make use of a lead and really don't allow much for Jarvan, like the champions that we see like Mundo, Shyvana, and Renekton. Shyvana and Renekton in particular could just completely shut down a top laner. And now we're seeing champions that are just farm heavy, safe champions like Maokai, Alistar, and I think Jarvan can do pretty well against them because he can make it through the early game where he has weaknesses.
Uh-oh. Cax, he could be in a little bit of trouble here. Burns his flash to get away, but Mimo jumping forward. Cax getting a little bit of help from Nubby Pooh Bear. He's going to be able to dodge out a little bit of it. Spider's not going to go down. So Nubby Pooh Bear saves the life of his jungler. And here comes on the teleport, Onda finding Easy out. Just going to say, Onda may be pretty big for his team, but Easy has been coming up quite big as well. It's the bright spot on Zenith eSports right now. And it's a pretty big farm differential, but he's got to be able to do more than that. Uh-oh, Evaniscus finding Hako. Target out the Braum, actually, so didn't quite get enough damage onto him, and tower's being tanked now. Turned over to Stixie, who's actually diving forward for it. He really wants this one. He's going to get stunned out. The tower's going to finish him off. Over-aggressive maneuver, and he gives up a kill to Jessica Jung.
That's just flat-out greed right there.
Unnecessary, yeah. Greed. I had a friend who used to tell me greed is feed.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it, especially as Vayne. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can 1v1. Oh, wait, no, I can't. Uh-oh. Bye-bye.
I'm so cool. I'm just going to go in there, get some kills, and tumble out. But especially with Braum, that slow is really potent. You just can't afford that, especially since they wasted so many resources getting the egg down and getting the flash down from Easy. And with
they're going to give up this dragon because of it. I think that's the bigger part of the story. Their lead is going to start evaporating here just because they've made a couple of simple mistakes, and Zenith aren't slouches. They know how to capitalize on that.
Yep. Now, the team fight here, I still think is in Denial's favor. Stixie
the 5v5?
Yeah, the 5v5. But again, they can't afford to have mistakes like that because then they don't really get a chance to 5v5, and they just give up a free dragon. So that's going to let Zenith come back in the game a little bit. Ana goes ahead and picks up the last Whisper after the Brutalizer. So going pretty much full damage. Acadian can't even show his face in lane at this point just because he has 0 armor right now. And
negative armor at this point.
Negative armor. Oh, man, especially after the Q. Oh my gosh, that EQ combo is going to be hurting.
This last hour tower is easily going over to Denial, and they just don't even bother denying too many minions. He just pokes it away. So with the map control firmly in their favor, yes, Denial can still take the 5v5. They definitely have the stronger individuals, but they have to be careful not to get caught out. Nubby now going forward onto Easy, who dodges out a lot of his damage, but he's still there. That's the 1v2, though. Nubby's got to be careful. He's going too far forward. Evaniscus coming in, trying to get the save off. Can they finish up Easy? And they cannot. Oh, my goodness. He gets away. Barely any help. Evaniscus, he has to flash away, and now he goes back in. Eggs out Easy, but he's going to fall for the effort, and Cat God comes too late to the party. 2 kills given up completely unnecessarily by Denial Esports.
Yeah, the face of the mountain, keeping Easy alive long enough to be able to get through that one. Now the egg does pop, but
Mimo.
still.
Okay, he's going down.
Yikes.
They get a revenge kill, but they really invested for that. And wow, Stixie, he's going hard to get just the support. Stixie falling down, and he really, really should not have traded himself for just a support, but I guess he wanted it.
This is that power spike that I was talking about from Corky, and I was saying that Denial had, with that dragon fight, had got over the hump because Jessica Jung picked up the Trinity Force, and then next thing you know, they win a dragon fight, they take a huge lead. But now he went from 0-2 to 3-2, and he's
That's dead
starting
even
to
right
pick
now.
up traction. So that second item pickup for Corki is even bigger than just the Trinity Force. So that next fight that happens is going to be pretty big. Nubby
Well, he's
Pooh
only
Bear is
down
just
20 farm, too. Nubby, he's really looking for a fight here. Oh, he could get this pickup. Spirit Rush. Cat God, he's going low, though. He gets shredded down, absolutely, by GG Jessica Jung, and they don't even, well, they barely pick up easy for it. But, man, these are so aggressive plays from a team that until recently was quite far ahead. I don't understand, Azumo.
Well, the thing is their lead actually isn't dwindling. Part of that has to do with them being up 3-0 in turrets. So a lot of that goal lead is from turrets, which are
That's true.
sort of not the best indicator. Now, if they can manage to keep map control for the remainder of the game, that goal lead's going to stick. But one team fight from Zenith, and they could pick up the turrets, and then that goal lead's going to completely swing back, or not back into, but into Zenith's favor. So they have to really be careful with these over-aggressive plays. 4 turrets to 0 now, and that's pretty much solely where their lead is coming from.
Well, to be fair to Denial, like most of their over-aggressive plays have been while simultaneously putting pressure on another side of the map. So Zenith hasn't had a chance to respond by taking any objectives of their own. They're still down 4 turrets to none. They don't have any map pressure, and the only thing they've really managed to secure on top of kills was the lone dragon. So yeah, that accounts much for Denial's continued lead, but the bolder they go into this, if they start falling down, that's going to start to change very quickly. So I'll be interested to see how this first 5v5 ends up shaking out. Definitely should be in favor of Denial, but you never know.
Yeah, you really don't know. The Ravenous Hydra finished from Onda here. So I think that's going to be the end of Minch building. He might finish off the Black Cleaver, but
I don't know, man.
Probably going to be
damage right now.
Probably going to be tank from here on out. I probably maybe a Randuin's and a Banshees to finish it off. Maybe the Banshees.
It's okay. They got Evaniscus, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. I changed that. Infinity Edge, Trinity Force. Next item.
Here we go. Full damage J4. I want to see what his runes and masters are.
He had pretty heavy magic resist. He had 46 magic resist at level 4.
That makes sense, though, especially if you're up against a Lulu. I mean, look at this team. Very MR focused. Well, Acadian has to burn his flash to get away. Big 5-man up in the top lane, but they don't find anything for it. And meanwhile, Easy is going to push himself into the first turret of the game for Zenith eSports. Everybody from Denial starting to scatter around a little bit. Bit of an awkward positioning, but it was a nice pickup by Zenith.
Yeah, he has flat health, flat AD, flat magic resist.
Okay, so he has a lot of tankiness built in. Evaniscus might be caught out here. Whoa, armor being shredded through. Nubby Pooh Bear going to take the bait, though. Uh-oh, the 1v2. He doesn't want to take that. Mimo, he's chasing forward on Evaniscus. One more headbutt. And way trade 1-for-1. 80 carry for support. And now it's Mimo being targeted out. Hakuo extremely low. GG Jessica Jung goes a little too far forward as Evaniscus finally gets taken down. But hashtag not worth, and now Easy coming in on the teleport. Oh my goodness, Ada going far forward.
Whoa!
It's a double. He goes on Acadian. Can he get the triple kill? It looks like it, and they take down everybody. It's a double for Stixie as well, and that is a full ace onto Stixie and Cat God coming up huge as they only drop Nubby Pooh Bear, and the siege continues from Denial Esports.
The power of that full damage driver right now is just overwhelming, and the surprise factor from Onda as well. You really don't expect a driver to do that much damage. His EQ combo, his flash EQ combo, instantly got a double kill.
Without hesitating. Look at that. Jessica Jung, half his health almost gone. And he's so tanky despite building full damage. This is an incredible bruiser, Jarvan.
Yeah, that was just sort of Zenith sticking around a little bit too long, not paying respect to Onda on that Jarvan, and just paying for it. And Easy, the teleport, a little bit questionable. He didn't have his flash up yet, I don't think. He did have his egg up, but teleporting when his team was halfway in between the second tier and the inhibitor turret, and he teleported that second tier turret with 4 members of Denial all sitting around it. That's just a little bit questionable, and I mean, Zenith is really paying for it. That's a huge momentum swing. First inhibitor, granted it's on the top side, which is probably the side that they would want it on the most because easier to get to Baron.
Yeah.
Oh, blocks him off the wall.
Evaniscus, he's in a little bit of trouble, but he says, I'll take this fight, 1v5, no problem, staying alive. They're not sure if they want to take it, and he burns his flash to get out of there, but this all could be a bait. Here comes On in. Spirit Rush in from Nubby Pooh Bear. Acadian down to half health immediately. Dragon is live. They're looking to try and force a fight here. Denial zoning as best they can. Evaniscus is low, however. Spirit Rush now on cooldown. and they're going to back away and give this dragon up. But they still have a sizable gold lead, so they decide to play the gentleman and give this one away.
And a positional advantage as well, trading the dragon probably at least for a second tier turret, maybe even for an inhibitor turret, and they could just swing immediately to Baron if they wanted to, but a little bit of hesitation.
What they're going to do, actually. Zumo, this could be a massive power swing. This would be really close.
I think they hesitated a little bit too much. They should have just rushed down the turret and hit it immediately to Baron if that was going to be their plan. It still would have been maybe a little bit risky, but probably could have been better.
Man without fear here, just going on forward.
I mean, you saw him last time. He got walled off alone and survived through 5 members for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, the damage on Zenith is just not where it needs to be right now, and this is what's allowing Denial to have so much prolonged map control.
Yeah, the Anivia pick for them is just not working out at this point. She does great against sieges as well, but Denial has already broken open the base. They should have just given up that second tier turret, not have had easy teleport in. Whoa!
Whoa, what's going on? Hakuo, he's going to go down, does get his ultimate off before that all happens. Nabi Pooh Bear now in a little bit of trouble, but decides to return quite a lot of damage. Orb of Deception really showing why it's a much more effective skill. Slight little buffs last couple patches, but still, Nabi Pooh Bear, he nearly takes that from 100 to 0.
Onda is going all in on the damage. So he just said, you know what? At this point, he's just effectively an assassin. And one EQ combo brought Acadian down to half health, and then he just locked him in with the Cataclysm and 2 more auto attacks, and he was dead. That's it. He killed someone probably faster than a Zed or a Talon, or just as fast as a Zed or a Talon could in that type of situation. So he's just a monster at this point in the game, and Acadian is just a walking wild growth right now. Is pretty much what he's resigned to. Yeah. So I don't know, this team comp that they had in their mind, just I don't think is working out how Zenith had planned it.
Yeah, the name of the game is definitely not what we expected.
Yeah.
I think especially Zenith is very surprised at how this has shaken out for them. They're struggling to try and keep everything in control on their half of the map, but it's proving very difficult. A lot of wards being expended right now, and they're going to try to control the Baron pit as best as they possibly can, but they're giving up a lot. Onda is just solo pushing on the bot side. Split push Jarvan is still a thing as well. Easy going to try and answer this out, but he could very well go for the tower dive if he wants. Onda decides he doesn't, but the tower's already taken very low. Another assault like that, and it should go down. Onda just trying to bait Easy out now.
Yeah, this should be a Baron here. I don't think they have the means to contest
no, it's going to be Easy. Yeah, all of it is a ruse, as Hako does not have the damage or the presence to really make anything happen. Everyone's scattering on the side of Zenith. So now with 5-man Baron, things get even more dire for Zenith eSports.
Yeah, I talked about it before. They've already broken over the base, so that inhibitor has respawned, but that's an opening that they need, which is not an opening that they should have had with an Anivia on the opposing team, but Zenith sort of just handed it to them on a silver platter in the last fight. So a lot of options here. They can group as 5. They can head on over to that inhibitor, take it out. But this Baron buff is probably, or maybe not probably, the gold lead is still not huge, but this could be the end of the game.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate they've started to fall little by little more behind than they were in the beginning of the game. And really just credit Denial hugely for having the superior shot calling, really. Oh, careful. Don't want to expend your Baron buff unnecessarily. Onda is not there yet. He is actually spending his teleport to come back a little bit quicker.
Did he hear me?
Go down. Oh my goodness, I think he might have.
The Infinity Edge, Trinity Force, oh god.
Yep, that was totally an Azuma call.
Alright, Andy.
Corky thought my joke was funny.
If you're listening, then you better build a Trinity Force next.
He's totally ghosting the stream.
Yeah, well.
They're just going to keep swinging the pressure as much as they can. They've already gotten the top inhibitor again, looking towards the bot now, and actually just kind of splitting it out. Stixie, Nubby, Pooh Bear providing a lot of cover. Uh-oh, Nubby might be in trouble, has to Spirit Rush over the wall. Half his health bar is gone just like that. However, sensing even a moment of hesitation, they take down the outer turret, and Onda and Cat God looking to make a move on inhibitor number 2. Everybody from Zenith eSports mobilized trying to defend this. Oh, flashing from Evaniscus, and they managed to get easy. He's taken low. Can he go down, though? There's a dive in from Honda, and he gets a 5-man Cataclysm off. Hakuo going down for the first one. Easy should fall in just a moment. Egg is broken on through, and it's a 3v5 right now. Evaniscus a blinking health bar, but they stay alive. And now Cat God flashing in, not sure if he wants to take this one, but they keep on going. And this fight looks like it could be almost over here. Azumo, this game is starting to get out of hand for Zenith eSports.
Yeah, Anda's ability to initiate at this point is just scary, because not only is he locking people up with the knock-up and the Cataclysm, but he's taking out half of their health in the process. So he's a little bit susceptible to the damage, as you can see there. He's forced to blow his flash almost instantly after he initiated. Oh, Nubby Pooh Bear!
He might go too far forward. Mima's going to find him out here. Shutdown Gold flashing forward. Acadian picks that one up. One Baron buff gone, but they've already done work with it. Cat God could be caught out here as well. He's going to rappel up, but he's got nowhere to go. They just wait for him to come down, and Mimo get himself a kill. They answer back with 2, but they have lost so much now, Azumo. What are the options for Zenith eSports?
Turtle. Turtle as best that they can. I mean, Baron's still down for another couple minutes, and they got a couple Baron buffs off. The next push that Denial's going to have is going to be Baron buffless, and they do actually have a pretty good Turtle team comp. Kha'Zix is okay, especially with the Evolved W, and Divya is matched by no one in her ability to turtle and defend against sieges. But at this point, with 2 inhibitors down, with 2 openings to their base, and they only have 1 turret for themselves, so even if they do manage to win a team fight, it's going to be a long while. Probably 2 or 3 team fights they're going to have to win before they can push for the win, especially since 35 minutes is still not too late in the game. Death timers aren't absurd right now, so they just have to turtle and hope that Denial makes mistake after mistake after mistake.
Well, so far they are resigned to that strategy, with 2 inhibitors down, separating things out just a little bit. Dragon's Live should be an easy pickup for Denial, but I'm more impressed by the fact that they've managed to stay within 10,000 gold. I know that's not exactly an encouraging statement, but that's, considering how this game has looked out of control, the kills that they've answered back with have really meant a lot to them in terms of gold.
Yeah, when you look at the team fights, they look completely one-sided most of the time. It's like Denial just absolutely destroys the team fight. So by just looking at the team fights alone and not hiding the score, just put your hand over the score and just look at the team fight and say, oh wow, Denial is really far ahead. So yeah, I think it is pretty good of Zenith to be able to stay within. I mean, right now, what, 8,000 to 9,000? Which, despite how far it looks like they're behind in this game, they're not. Denial's not out of the woods yet. It's not a free win for them just yet.
Yeah. No, and part of this is the fact that they are relying so heavily on Evaniscus to be the primary tank for the team. You know, one of the short sides. Honda's still pretty tanky, and yeah, he's been the big zone problem this entire game. 5-1 and 7. It's really hard to criticize any part of his performance. Especially when you listen to your build. Uh-oh, they get caught up here. A lot of stuns come out. Mimo, he goes in a little too early, gets blown up by Stixie, and now Hako regretting that decision. Instantaneously, Nubby Pooh Bear going in, sacrificing himself, but they answer with the support of Zenith eSports. A double kill. Going over to Stixie. Anda zoning out and killing Arcadian again. Easy going down. This could be GG right here, Azumo. That's going to be the last pickup, the full ace, and they march forward for victory right now as Denial eSports moving on up in the Black Monster Cup to the winners match.
Very well played. The team comp that they had was pretty well built to deal with the tools that Zenith had. Zenith, I just don't think that game played out how they had it in their mind. They had a great level 1. They had a great plan with their level 1. It looked like they had the lanes exactly how they wanted, but in the mid game, they lost that first dragon fight pretty handily. At the top lane, when they lost that first inhibitor because of that teleport from Easy, you could tell that was just sort of the nail in the coffin. They couldn't make use of the turtling ability of Anivia since the base was open, and Denial just brought it home. So very well played. They're going to move on to the winners match and just have to win one more game to guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs from this group.
Of course, it will be a very tough march forward in the playoffs, but focusing on ahead as Denial gets themselves a big win over Zenith. Zenith will have another chance to come back, of course. If you're not familiar with the bracket setup, it is double elimination in the group. So after this next match, it will be Team Solo Kill versus Team Luxax. The winner of that will move on to play Denial eSports. Loser will play Zenith. And then, of course, we'll have a couple more matches forward to decide who ends up going into the playoffs. So, Zenith has another chance. They will certainly have to come up with a slightly different strategy, but we'll have to see, because when we come back, Team Solo Kill takes on Team Luxax. Group D of the Black Monster Cup continues. Guys, we're going on a short break, but we'll be right back in just a bit, so don't go anywhere, don't touch that browser, because we're watching BMC on ESL TV. We'll be right